Have you ever had one of those days where you feel so overwhelmed you might lose it? Worrying about your kids, dealing with a stressful financial situation, finagling your schedule to impossibly get everyone where they need to be, making calls to set up appointments, but nothing is working out. And on top of that, the house is a disaster. Your toddler is hurt and crying. Your teenager is giving you attitude, and you wonder how you can handle it all right now. The stress is too much. And you find yourself crying, snapping, or checking out mentally, all in an effort to release the stress. But the worst part is, you start questioning yourself with thoughts like, what's wrong with me? A good mom wouldn't feel this way. Other moms seem to handle this so much better. Why can't I enjoy motherhood? I'm failing my kids. With these thoughts, you've taken one difficult moment and turned it into evidence that you're a bad mom, which kills your self-worth. Feeling overwhelmed doesn't make you a bad mom. Crying doesn't make you a bad mom. Struggling doesn't make you a bad mom. And having moments where you wonder, how am I going to get through this? Doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Welcome to Conquer Mom Stress, the podcast that helps you stress less and enjoy motherhood more. If you've ever crawled into bed at night completely exhausted, but still feel like there's so much left to do, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Jill Gokul, and I believe that motherhood is meant to feel joyful, not exhausting. Together, we'll uncover what's really fueling your stress and give you the practical tools to conquer it so you can finally feel like the confident mom you were made to be. Also, if you have a specific question or issue you're stressing about, head over to jillgokul.com/ask to submit your question. And who knows, you might just be featured in an upcoming episode so you can get practical, real-world solutions to the exact challenges you're facing. With 5 kids, I've had plenty of moments feeling overwhelmed. Most of the time, it wasn't because of some catastrophic thing happening. Instead, it was just the daily demands of motherhood, when combined with additional stress, suddenly became too much. I remember one day talking to a friend about how overwhelmed I was. For several weeks, the pressure had been increasing as I worried about my family. I was going to weekly doctor visits trying to uncover a problem with one of the kids. We had a huge unexpected bill with another. We were about to enter a super busy season where the kids' schedules were going to be insane, and I was constantly thinking about how to juggle getting everyone where they needed to be when events were happening at the same time in different places. Not to mention, I was super stressed about a business deal that negotiations might fall through. That particular day, my stress was at its peak. And when I called to schedule an appointment in the city, and their first opening wasn't until our busiest week, I started crying on the phone with a stranger. I said I'd call back once I took another look at my calendar and hung up. As I looked around at the house with dishes piled up and laundry from 3 days ago waiting to be folded, I thought, I cannot do one more thing. As I recounted this moment with my friend, I was met with a response that was intended to ease my worry. There are tons of moms out there that have to do this, and they handle it just fine, even working a full-time job. While this comment was meant to encourage me that I could handle it all, the opposite happened. I felt diminished, like a failure. I didn't work, and I was still drowning. Obviously, they were all better moms than me. First of all, this is what comparison does. It makes assumptions about other people and uses it to tear yourself down, making you feel like a bad mom based on circumstantial evidence. You begin to wonder why you feel this way when you love your kids and are grateful for them, but then wonder why you're so overwhelmed by the responsibilities that come along with them. Here's where so many moms get trapped. You confuse being a good mom with never struggling, thinking if you really loved motherhood, you wouldn't be this stressed. But that's simply not true. You can love your children deeply and still need a break. You can be grateful for your family and still cry in the shower. You can believe motherhood is a beautiful gift and still have days where it feels incredibly hard. Those things can exist at the same time. The real problem isn't that you're stressed or overwhelmed. It's what you're telling yourself about the stress and overwhelm. And remember, comparison makes this so much worse. Somewhere along the way, you've created this imaginary version of the good mom. She's patient, organized, always on top of things. Her kids eat vegetables. Her house is clean. Everything goes smoothly for her. She never yells. She never loses her patience. She reads bedtime stories with enthusiasms and somehow still has time to make homemade sourdough. And then there's you, standing in the kitchen, eating your kids' leftover chicken nuggets while wondering whether you've ruined everyone emotionally. You compare your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel and then condemn yourself for not measuring up. But here's the problem with that. It creates this unrealistic expectation that you should never struggle. And that pressure to never struggle then creates more stress. Here's what I mean. You feel overwhelmed, then you beat yourself up for struggling as a mom. That guilt and self-condemnation heaps more stress on you. Your stress response kicks in to fight or flight, so now you're more irritable around your kids, which makes you feel guilty again. It's a vicious cycle of stress leading to guilt, leading to self-condemnation, leading to more stress. Eventually, you're not only dealing with the original problem, you're also carrying a second emotional burden that you're a bad mom because you're struggling. I want you to think about this. The Bible doesn't say that faithful people never struggle. Quite the opposite. Scripture is filled with people who were overwhelmed, people who cried, people who questioned, people who felt afraid, people who didn't know what they needed to do next. Look at Psalms. Over and over again, David cries out to God from places of fear, sadness, frustration, and uncertainty. And God doesn't say, stop feeling that way. A good believer wouldn't be overwhelmed. No. Instead, God meets him there. That's what he wants to do for you. When you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, when you can't stop the tears, he's waiting there to comfort you. You just have to turn to him. Psalms chapter 34, verse 19 says, "Many are the troubles of the just man, but the Lord delivers him from them all." You know as well as I do that motherhood brings on a variety of troubles. It rises you to a level beyond where you've been before, because every decision, predicament, and struggle doesn't just affect you. You are deeply concerned how it'll affect your children. And this worry can spill over in hard seasons. But society has made it so moms feel like they're doing something wrong when those hard seasons come. Being a good mom doesn't make you immune to hard seasons. Even Jesus had moments of profound overwhelm. Just look at the Garden of Gethsemane as he awaited his crucifixion. In Matthew chapter 26, verse 38, Jesus says, "My soul is sorrowful even to death." Jesus wasn't pretending everything was fine. He wasn't suppressing his emotions. He expressed his anguish. He brought it to his Father. And that distinction matters. Feeling something isn't the same as being ruled by it. You can feel overwhelmed without being a bad mom. You can feel anxious without being a failure. You can cry without losing your faith. You can admit, this is really hard, and yet still trust God. When you believe your stress means you're a bad mom, you start living under constant emotional pressure. Instead of asking, what do I need right now? You ask, what's wrong with me? You stop giving yourself compassion, criticize yourself, replay your mistakes, obsess over the moments you yelled. You forget the 100 of moments where you showed up beautifully and focus on the one moment you didn't. And this is all because the brain is wired to notice threats and mistakes in order to increase your chance of survival. In the primitive world, mistakes meant death. But today, mistakes simply mean opportunities to learn and lean into God. Your children don't need a mother who never struggles. They need a mother who models how to handle struggle. Imagine your child growing up and believing, I should never feel overwhelmed. I should never cry. If I'm struggling, something is wrong with me. That's not the message you want to teach. Instead, imagine your child learns, sometimes life is hard, but God will help me get through it. It's okay to have big feelings. I can ask for help. I can take a breath. I can apologize when I mess up. Friend, that's what we call emotional resilience. Honestly, the most powerful thing your child can see isn't a perfect mom. It's a mom who embraces her imperfections. Imagine telling your child, Mommy was really overwhelmed. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I'm sorry. I'm going to take a few minutes to calm down and then we'll try again. Oh man, that is not failure. That's modeling emotional regulation. The goal here isn't to become a mom who never feels stress. That's impossible. The goal is to become a mom who doesn't let stress define you, who recognizes that feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean you're failing, who recognizes a hard season and instead of letting it crush you, uses it to make you stronger. That's the goal. Not perfection, but resilience. Every mom struggles at some point. It's normal to worry, feel like you're doing everything wrong, and to have moments of being overwhelmed. You've been fed this lie that life is supposed to be easy and comfortable. But the truth is, life is hard, and learning to navigate hard seasons is a skill that requires you to learn and grow. So instead of using your difficult moments as evidence that you're a bad mom, consider the fact that growth rarely happens when you're comfortable. It's the experiences that stretch you, challenge you, almost break you that often teach you the most. Here's 3 things to remember when stress, anxiety, and overwhelm hit. First, replace I'm failing with I'm learning. When you're struggling in motherhood, don't immediately turn it into an identity. Use it as information rather than condemnation. Instead of thinking you're a terrible mom, ask yourself what you can learn from it. How are you being stretched and called to change? Do you need more sleep? Are you overscheduled? Do you need to ask for help or lean into God? Maybe your expectations are unrealistic or you need to set a boundary. This pursuit leads to growth. Second, stop comparing your struggle to someone else's highlight reel. When you see the mom whose kids are dressed beautifully, whose house looks spotless, whose family vacation looks magical, whose children seem perfectly behaved, remind yourself, you don't know her whole story. You're looking at a moment, not a life. And even if she really does have something figured out that you don't, that's okay. You don't have to turn her strength into evidence of your inadequacy. You can simply say, that's something I admire. Maybe I can learn from it, and then move on. Comparison says, she's proof I'm failing. But wisdom says, maybe she has something I can learn. And third, let yourself be human. This may be the most important one. Cry, rest, ask for help. Tell someone I'm having a hard day. Go sit in your car, take a walk, pray, call a friend, laugh. Take the pressure off. You don't have to earn the right to be tired. You don't have to justify needing a break. And you don't have to wait until you're completely depleted to take care of yourself. Your humanity is not an inconvenience. You're allowed to be a person while you're being a mom. And remember, being a good mom isn't about being perfect. It's about loving your children and continuing to show up, even when motherhood is hard. And friend, that's what makes you a good mom. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Conquer Mom Stress. If today's conversation encouraged you, hit follow and leave a review. That lets me know that these episodes are hitting the topics you need. And while you're there, share this podcast with another mom who might need to hear it. Your thoughtfulness might just be what she needs to get through the day. Remember, this is your place to pause, rest, and start conquering mom stress, one small step at a time. Motherhood isn't meant to drain the life out of you. It's meant to be lived with joy, even on the messy days. And together, we're going to find that joy again.